Hi, I'm Monica Salgado, and I'm going to present the paper entitled Sustainability and Smartness During a Pandemic Scenario. I am an architect and full professor at Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, with PhD in production engineering. And this year I went to New York City to participate as visiting scholar at Parsons New School of Design, and I'm very glad to have this opportunity to share some results of my research. I went to New York at the end of January to investigate the dynamics of a smart and sustainable city. But in March, all the world, and particularly New York, started fighting the challenges of COVID-19. And so I decided to change the main theme of my research and initiated the search for an answer to the question, what can bring smartness to our cities, analyzing New York City administration reaction facing COVID-19. The search for a definition of what is a smart city has initiated in 1994, when the first intelligent city has been built in Amsterdam. That was also the beginning of the misunderstanding related to the comprehension of what truly is a smart city. The heavy technocentricity attributed to the expression has been lately criticized by researchers, as technology alone cannot bring the results expected from a smart city. The best definition about what is a smart city has been presented on 2015 by United Nations, which considers a smart, sustainable city as an innovative city that uses information and communication technologies and other means to improve quality of life, efficiency of urban operation and services, and competitiveness, while ensuring that it meets the needs of present and future generations with respect to economic, social, cultural, and environmental aspects. In fact, analyzing the 5 trends of a smart city, it is possible to recognize benefit for all 17 Sustainable Development Goals. For example, digital transformation can benefit directly Goal 8 related to decent work, Goal 9 related to industry and innovation. Goal 13, as through digital technologies, it is possible to monitor climate change. And Goal 3, with online access to health information and telehealth. Goal 11 appears at the intersection of the 5 trends, as sustainable cities and communities can benefit from all aspects of a smart city. But my research about smart and sustainable city has been disrupted by the pandemic. According to the World Health Organization, the first report of a new disease occurred on 31st December 2019 on Wuhan, China. The first case of COVID-19 in New York City was registered on March 1st. Mass testing started and the cases increased rapidly. On March 23rd, Governor declared New York on pause and established diverse restrictions. I believe these images can illustrate what happens in New York City during the worst period of the pandemic. On April 23rd, there was more than 150,000 cases just in New York City. Messages related to COVID start being publicized through television, social media, and diverse means of communications. Among all initiatives to disseminate information, New York City administration created a direct line where all New Yorkers could receive updates directly to their smartphones. SMS have reached citizens regardless of internet access, with several updates daily. So I decided to analyze this SMS in order to understand the dynamic of local government action in order to identify its fragilities. During the worst period of the pandemic in the city, from March 12 to April 29, 133 messages have been sent, and I received, tracked, analyzed each of them. This graphic presents exactly these messages and their frequency. As you can see, those messages did not end on themselves, as they had the purpose to inform citizens about phone numbers and internet websites, revealing that this message summarized all information about government actions amid COVID-19. Through the analysis of message content, 8 categories have been identified: medical and COVID information, remote learning and school information, food distribution, control of price gouging, support to small businesses and employees, motivational messages, support for victims of domestic violence, and general information. As illustrated here, on the beginning of the pandemic, messages were mostly related to health support and COVID information. Information about school occurred during the first weeks, as schools were immediately closed and teaching migrated to remote learning. on forthwith emergent messages about the support for victims of domestic violence. It is worth noticing a huge number of motivational messages during all period, suggesting alternatives to control the stress and improve mental health. SMS categories also indicate the importance of investments on basic sustainable development goals as an important strategy for strengthening resilience of cities. Messages were related particularly to 6 goals. Goal 1, end poverty in all its forms everywhere. Goal 2, zero hunger. Goal 3, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Goal 4, quality education. Goal 5, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. And also messages related to support to small businesses also are related to Goal 8, as it is also important to prepare the city for the period post-pandemic. I'd like to share some thoughts with you about all this discussion. I believe the solutions are not global. The change will come from cities and not from countries. Each city has its own characteristics, so the level of smartness of cities is flexible and inconstant, and depends on social, cultural, and economic characteristics. Digital technologies reveals enormous potential to support action in exceptional cases, as occurred during 2020 pandemic. But I must confess that for now I have more questions than answers. But I hope for a more inclusive, human, and collaborative city, where digital technologies will improve quality of life and well-being for all. Thank you so much for your attention.